Namaste Nam, we have today with us amazing Bhumi who is doing wonderful four entrepreneurship ventures
Yes,
or
I
even
think
more
so.
in pipeline. We have this
Thank
Nashta
you.
Nam series and we have this wonderful healthy breakfast from goodness in your life, and these are all healthy fruit
Wow.
juices and cacao toast and breakfast jars. So let's
It
start
is the
with the
best way to start this day. Cheers.
cheers. How you started with entrepreneurship journey and how you ventured into different ventures one by one. We're really curious to know because I find hard to manage one venture and you're managing four.
Ankita, you are fellow twin mothers
Yeah.
and two young boys, so that's a whole thing in itself. So
Yeah.
we all wear so many different hats, right? Every one of us
As a
in our
mom,
lives,
yeah.
as a mom, as daughters, as wives, etc. So I think multitasking and playing different roles seamlessly comes naturally to a lot of us. But I think my journey pretty much began when I was young. I think any creative venture gave me like a lot of innate joy and a sense of huge satisfaction creatively.
Yes.
So I think even when I was younger, I would make these little projects for myself at home,
Oh wow.
which later grew into me discovering my passion for photography while I was in college. And
You studied photography, right?
yes, I did my master's in photography with one of my now photography partners, Simran. She and I both
Okay.
did our masters in
Oh,
photography in England, and so I think that is really where it all began.
And you were one of the top candid wedding photography photographers. I remember when candid photography was not even a word back then. And you and Simran started it out. So how was that journey?
I mean, it was really amazing. I think the best part was that it came uh, from a from a core area where we were just passionate about what we did, and photography happened to be like a big part of our lives, and we both enjoyed being around people. And I think this whole candid wave came at some point. I mean, we always said we like to photograph the
Yes.
mood and the ambience.
Yes.
And so it flowed very organically and felt very natural to everything that was important to us. And we got lucky along the way that we were one of the first few women photographers around in the wedding space. Otherwise, also partners.
Yes.
There's not a lot of women partners,
Like
and
it's
people
still very male dominated.
Right,
Yeah.
right. It's male dominated, and I think as two women photographers working together was also like interesting for people, because there is this whole idea of like competitiveness and all of
Yes,
that,
yes.
which Touchwood has never been a problem with us, because she was a very close friend and obviously is a very close friend of mine. We've always been very open with our communication, and I think for me, collaboration has always been such an important aspect of everything that I've done, because everybody brings different skills to the table.
Yes.
And I'm always very appreciative
Yes.
of that and learn so much from
So
the people
from
around me.
photography, I really wanted to know, to a kids clothing brand, how did you take that splurge?
So Junior Folk, Vaishnavi happened to be a very close friend of mine, and we were the only ones who became mothers in a span of about 6 months from each other. And so our journeys were in parallel. We both had young boys, and we thought there weren't enough so of course there's the creative side, right? And the itch to always want to do and create something unique, something that has little or big impact with the skills that I have. So I think she and I began to talk about a void that we felt existed, and again it was very very organic. And so at that phase in my life, it made sense to fully, slowly immerse myself into creating something that we didn't think existed in the Indian market. So that's how Junior Folk happened.
I remember Junior Folks prints were so different. Like every time I spot like I would go to different places like play dates, parks, and I would definitely spot a junior folk print out there.
Yeah.
So how, like, you didn't come with 200 SKUs or 20 SKUs, you came with very limited SKUs, but you were able to popularize them in a very short span of time.
Yes.
So what was the reason behind it? What was your marketing strategy behind it?
One big reason which I have to like bring up was the fact that I was so closely involved with NAM, which you have lovingly sort of created and grown over the last few years. And I think fellow mompreneurs immediately understood, valued and supported us in an unimaginable way. I think, ultimately, our journeys are way more similar than we imagine.
Yes. Yes.
So when you create something and there's a certain thought process which comes from a genuine place, and you of course have your quality checks and all of that in place, I really believe you can connect to you connect very well, and people understand what you're trying to do.
Yes.
So NAM was a huge
that's very kind of you to say,
but it's true, and kudos to you to envision this and create it so beautifully.
I'm sorry, I'm asking same questions about your entrepreneurship journey, but I'm also interested. How you have an art venture, then you have a pet grooming venture. So how did that start, and how all four of these, how do you divide your time between these four ventures?
Well, it is obviously crazy. I mean, when I look back at the last 4 years and I see, okay, the big change in my life, which was motherhood.
Yes.
Because photography was happening before that, so that sort of seamlessly flew into this journey. And then along the way, these new, slightly varied things entered my life in a big way. I think a very important thing that I've realized is that each of these businesses really sort of, they complement each other rather than compete with each other. So I typically would leverage my insights from one and they fuel the other, so I'm constantly thinking of ways of using what I've learned here, and it's all to do with the things that I love, my photography, the way that I see the world, art, it is all much more interlinked than you imagine. So I think, yes, coming to how does one organize it, biggest lesson, I think I used to be a perfectionist, or believe that I was, and would want to give 200% of myself to everything that I did, until I thought I was being stretched
at different
too thin. Yeah, there's all of this stuff that I wanted to do, but just there's 24 hours in a day. I am a human being, and and 2 kids is a handful. You would know.
Yes, twins is a handful for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think a big revelation or realization for me was to actually be present and to understand that progress, whether it's baby steps, is much more worthwhile than perfection. So I think that is one thing that really helped me organize my time, understand expectations of myself, that I can't give 200% to everything. You have to prioritize and see where you're needed the most at which point of time.
And then divide your time.
Yeah, and to-do lists have become my best friends, my reminders on my phones. All of these tools are luckily there to help. So organizing your day is key.
I feel, Bhumi, collaboration has been a key in your case, because you have partners in each venture, which definitely also helps to run multiple businesses, because you have somebody reliable you can back on if there is something needed in another venture.
Right.
A lot of people are not able to foster partnerships, and what are the key tips that you're going to give them if they're looking for a founder or a partner to run business, and how it helps in the long run?
So I like this question a lot. Why? Because I think partnerships may not be everyone's cup of tea. However, it is like a very, very huge part of the way that I work. I think if you look at the various things that are going on in my life, whether it's the art venture, which is with my father, whether it's Junior Folk with Vaishnavi, who's my college friend, Simran, who was with me when I did my
Classmate from college again.
my photography classmate, yes. And Chirag, my husband, who is the real dog lover, and it's his dream that we are trying to, create in our own little way. So I think for me, I got lucky because in all of these relationships of mine, they're all very close to me naturally, right? So there is a huge degree of trust, of open communication. I think in any entrepreneurial journey, there are bound to be ups and downs, there are bound to be challenges, things you haven't thought of, difficult days, all of that. So, open communication with your partners, transparency, trust is the foundation of any sort of partnership. So, I would, if somebody is looking for
Yes.
a partner, prioritize these things.
Yes.
Also adaptability, flexibility, and I think don't forget to celebrate the victories
Little
with
victories.
along with the challenges that come your way.
Yes.
It's so important as people
Yes.
to also reconnect as humans and not just business partners.
Yeah.
You have to have that downtime and
Yeah, but do you guys fight, and how do you resolve conflicts? I'm sure there would be difference of opinions at times.
Yeah,
So do you
yeah.
have clear authority areas that this part of the business, like operations, somebody else is going to make decisions,
Right.
marketing, you're making decisions. So I want to understand how the dynamics work
Right.
with each different kind of business.
Understood. So I think, like I said earlier, I think between the businesses, but amongst the partners as well, you also have to work with people whose skill set complements yours. So I am good at X, Y, and Z things, but I am extremely poor, and I can be humble enough to say that I really don't know it all.
Yes.
These are my core areas of expertise that I'm confident about.
Yes.
And for everything else, you can delegate, you find the right people, and in a partnership, I think you try and work with people whose styles complement each other. And yes, there are fights, but I truly believe that there's nothing that a good conversation, open conversation can't solve. Which is why, like, just being open to ideas and keeping that larger goal in mind of what that larger vision is, that keeps you on
Going.
track. Yeah,
I think these are very important. Communication, open communication is one of the keys, and keeping the larger goal in mind, because
Right.
you're both working towards a bigger goal.
Yeah.
You want to achieve things, so you have to constantly remind that these disputes are very petty in compared to what you're trying to achieve in the long
Absolutely.
run. Very well said.
Absolutely.
You've been a super entrepreneur and a super mom.
Oh my God.
Like with all, like handling twins, with handling so many ventures. I want you to describe your entrepreneurship journey in a photograph, if you have to describe it.
In a photograph.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a really interesting one. But now that you ask, I do have the perfect image in mind, which I would really want you to see at some point, because I think it describes this phase of my life in the most brilliant, perfect way. So when I was a student doing my MA, researching other well-known photographers and all of that, I came across this picture, which was a portrait of Salvador Dali, the artist,
Okay.
by a photographer called Philip Halsman. And this was in 1948, and it's a bizarre image of Dali doing a jump in the air,
Oh, okay.
with a cat flying across the room, with a bucket of water that has been thrown across the scene. There is a flying chair. So
Okay.
everything is airborne, everything is chaotic,
Okay.
but there is this joyfulness and spontaneity and movement that I think is just so wonderful. So I think my life is like joyful chaos at the moment, with all of these different elements somehow fitting in, and
And it's a picture perfect.
yeah, and it is just such an interesting picture, and I
Yes.
think so I think I also derive a lot of joy from that
all
from
the
that
bits.
hustle.
Yes.
Yeah, and that activity.
You've beautifully described the photograph, and I think a lot of entrepreneurs are going to relate to it, because as moms also we are hustlers. We are trying to do so many things in a day.
I know.
Before we wind up, I wanted to do a quick rapid fire round with you.
My God.
You don't have to think much.
On my hot
Just
seat, ready.
answer whatever comes to your mind first.
Sure,
So
sure.
weddings or family portraits?
Family portraits.
Luxury spa for pets or a day at art gallery?
Oh, can I say both?
No, you have to
my
choose
God.
one.
Okay, maybe because I'm tired, I'm thinking of the spa more.
Yeah.
The luxurious spa for pets.
Yeah. You'll take your pet along.
Yes,
Yeah.
why not?
Instagram reels or YouTube videos?
Instagram reels, because I think I like the format.
Yeah, like the
Yeah.
quicker ones.
Yes.
Collaboration with friends or partnership with family? Which one do you prefer?
Oh my God. Collaboration with friends.
Yeah, that's always
Yes,
easier.
Easier.
Yeah.
In many
Online
ways.
shopping or in-store browsing?
Completely online
Right.
shopping. I am a big online shopper.
And no time to
Shouldn't be,
browse
but-
probably with all the things
Yeah, it's
that
just
you're...
so easy.
Yeah.
It's so easy that it's breeze and enjoyable. Oh, Ankita, in fact, I've been meaning to ask you. I really I love what you're wearing because it looks so comfortable and classy and
very, very comfortable, and this is from another NAM brand only.
Wow.
Vishali Attires by Vishali. So
Okay.
she was actually in New York when I needed this outfit for this episode. In 3 days, she got tailor online to take my measurements, and she
What?
sent me this lovely outfit.
wow.
So I'm super impressed, and the fitting was awesome because I've never done an online fitting.
Yeah, that's
So
amazing.
her tailor was so patient with me, and this lovely bracelet I got another NAM brand, which is VND Design.
Amazing.
Yeah,
It's
and I
very,
hope
very
you
nice.
liked your coffee. That's without any milk. It's with
You know,
almond milk.
I'm all for healthy, yummy things. So
Yeah.
this is really the perfect start to the day.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Thank you for coming here.